Story: The Silent Passenger. It was a chilly autumn night in October 2015 when Mark Reynolds, a 32-year-old delivery driver in rural Pennsylvania, had a terrifying encounter that he would never forget. Mark had just finished his last delivery and was driving home along Route 89, a quiet, lonely stretch of road surrounded by dense woods. The road was pitch black, with only the dim glow of his headlights piercing through the thick fog that rolled in from the nearby river. As Mark hummed along with the radio, trying to keep himself awake, something caught his eye in the rearview mirror. At first, he thought his mind was playing tricks on him. But then, he saw it again, a shadowy figure sitting in the back seat. Mark's heart began to pound as chills ran down his spine. His breathing quickened, and the hairs on the back of his neck stood on end. He was certain he had locked the car before leaving for his last stop. "There's no way someone could be back there," he whispered, trying to calm himself. But when he glanced in the mirror again, the figure was still there. Mark didn't dare turn around. His hands gripped the steering wheel tightly, his knuckles turning white. "Maybe it's just a shadow," he thought. But then a chilling whisper filled the car. "You shouldn't be here." Mark's blood ran cold. He slammed on the brakes and turned around, but the back seat was empty. Shaking and drenched in sweat, Mark sped toward the nearest gas station, pulling into the parking lot with a screech. He stumbled out of the car, gasping for air. The clerk inside, an older man named Jim, noticed Mark's pale face and trembling hands. "Are you okay, son?" Jim asked with concern. Mark tried to explain what had happened, but his words came out in a jumbled mess. When Jim heard the story, his face turned ashen. "Route 89, he murmured. Jim then told Mark about a young woman named Sarah, who had died tragically on that same stretch of road 10 years ago. She had been hit by a speeding car while hitchhiking home, and ever since, travelers reported seeing a shadowy figure in their back seat. Mark's heart raced as Jim spoke, but what terrified him the most was what Jim said next. "They say, if you see her, it means you've crossed into her world, and if you don't leave before dawn, you never come back." Panic surged through Mark's veins. He glanced back at his car, and there she was, Sarah, sitting quietly in the back seat, her hollow eyes staring straight into Mark's soul. Mark didn't wait. He jumped into his car and drove like his life depended on it. When he finally made it home, he parked his car and bolted inside. For days, Mark avoided going near his car. But when he finally worked up the courage to look, the back seat was covered in dirt and footprints. To this day, Mark refuses to drive on Route 89 after dark, and those who do are warned to check their back seat before they drive, because you never know who might be riding with you.